Hello, welcome back to the channel, and we're now in December and it's time to look back at my November solar generation, how we used that energy we generated from our solar panels, how much we have to import from the grid, so how much money we saved, how much money we made from export, and how much did it cost for us to import from the grid. So before I start, first of all, sorry that I haven't been posting very many videos recently. Normally I try to release one a week, but I've been a bit busy with the Tango business running the international festival, and some of the that has actually had an impact on my solar generation use as well, so I will be talking about that in this video. But throughout December, normality will resume, I suppose, and I'll be having videos about air fryers because I've recently bought an air fryer. I'll be reviewing my Tesla Model 3 and comparing it to my old MG ZS, and also towards the end of the month I'm going to do my year review, which will be released on New Year's Day, where I look back at the solar generation and of the whole of 2023. So that's what's coming up. So let's get the housekeeping out the way. For those who haven't seen my videos before, I have 4.65 kilowatts of Q-cell panels on the roof. They're in that's coming from 12 panels arranged in two strings of 6. We're perfectly south facing on top of a hill in Swansea. That feeds into a 5 kilowatt source inverter, and that then goes into the house or into a 5 kilowatt hour pure drive battery. As far as my tower is concerned, I'm with British Gas, and I have gas, which is for the heating, which is on, and also my hob is gas as well, and the electricity does everything else. My tower for the electricity is 23p standing charge and about 19p per kilowatt hour for import, because I fixed a couple of years ago. That tariff is coming to the end in March, and I am looking to move my seg payment, which is with So Energy, which is currently only paying 5p. But that's something for me to look at in this coming month. So all the figures I show you are coming from the Solace Cloud for my smart meter, and my savings are based on what I would have paid to British Gas if I hadn't had the solar panels, and I don't consider the standing charge in any of the calculations. So let's start off with the first graph. Here is my November generation. As you can see, it's been a month which has been hit and miss. So at the beginning of the month we had some very good solar generation, including near the beginning where we had nearly 18 kilowatt hours generated. That was the max day around the 3rd of November. It was actually 17.4 kilowatt hours generated. But as you can also see that on something like the 19th, the 13th and the 20th and the 27th, we had very little generation. Actually the lowest generation we had in the month was 0.5 of kilowatt hour. So the generation has been fairly low there, and this has meant that in November we had a total solar generation of 213.4 kilowatt hours. Now let's see how that energy was used. So this next graph shows in red the amount of import per day. The yellow is energy coming out of the battery, so this is energy we've stored from the roof. We don't have a tariff which makes it reasonable to charge the battery overnight. Our tariff is fixed rate all day, so we don't charge the battery from the import, or the battery is done from solar panels. That's the yellow, so that's the discharge of that. The green is what we call self-use, so that is real-time use, so it's energy being generated on the roof and going straight into an appliance. And the blue is the export. So as you can see, compared to previous months, if you watch my videos, there was a lot more import this month, especially around the 3rd quarter of the month. You can see that most days there we've had very little battery or self-use, because we just haven't had the sun to actually charge a battery or actually just power any devices. So we've had to rely quite heavily on import throughout November. Of course, there are days where we've had very little import as well, and as you can see, the amount of export obviously tallies to that. On very sunny days we've still been able to export back to the grid, while on other days we've had very little. Some days we do have some import and some export. That's just because the battery is down from the day before, and therefore we've had to import in the morning before the sun rises, and then we've had excess energy during the day. So how has that actually affected everything? So in November we used about 194 kilowatt hours, and as I say, we generated 213. So of that 294 we used, how is that split between our own energy and what we've imported from the grid? So this is what this graph shows. So you can see that we used 139.7 kilowatt hours of our own energy, which means we've had to import 57.37 kilowatt hours. So normally what we would try to do is use our dishwasher and washing machine and ovens when we've got most solar panel, but because of that festival, which was over the last weekend of November, we've had to bring home the crockery to do the washing up. We also had to bake some cakes and things like that, which did use more energy. So even on less ideal days, we couldn't avoid using those appliances. It also, the Friday and the Saturday of the festival, where we weren't actually here, we were spending time at the venue, were actually quite sunny and would have been ideal to be able to do those sort of things. So, but that's just sod's law, isn't it? So next thing is, how does this actually come into convert into money? So I've already given you the details of what we pay and how much we get paid. So in this graph you can see that the green is the money that we would have paid to British Gas if we didn't have the solar panels, and it's come out at £27.36. That's less than last month, and certainly much less, nearly, well, it's 2/3 the rate of what we were doing in the summer. We paid £9.96 in import. So that is, I'll do a comparison to last year in a moment, but we're quite happy with that for November. Spending less than £10 on our total electricity throughout November was pretty good. And then I don't know why that is in dollars, it should be in pounds, but we received £3.71 in SEG payments. As I say, we are looking to change our SEG to a higher rate. You can get about 15p now, so that will hopefully triple in the future, which means we should actually cover our import with our export. So that's those graphs and the month. So now let's come to a comparison to previous years. So let's start off with this graph, which just looks at the energy generation. So last year we only generated in November 177 kilowatt hours, which was actually less than our overall usage. This year we've actually generated a bit more because there's extra sunny days at the beginning of November. So as you can see, the orange line, which represents 2023, is slightly higher in November than it was last year, which has actually bucked the trend for the rest of the year. Right, now how does that, just because we have extra generation doesn't mean we've saved any more. So let's have a look at it in terms of money. So this is what this graph shows. So this is the amount of money we've saved and had as income from the SEG payment. So that's at £27 plus the £3.70ish, whatever it was. So as you can see, this month in November we made up just over £30. So that's our payback on the panels, you can think of it. And you can see it's actually a little bit higher than what it was in 2022. Again, that's due to having more solar generation, a little bit more SEG from that, and obviously using more of our own as well. So our November this year was better than November last year. So that basically concludes my review of the November solar generation. As I say, at the end of the month I will look back at the whole year, and then in early December I will also look at the December figures, or I might just combine those into the same video, depending on how things are going. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you're all keeping safe in this cold weather, and I'll see you again very soon.